Good evening and welcome into the second edition of the Janesville Jets Coaches Show right here on the Big AM 1380, the Big AM 1380.com, and of course as well on the TuneIn Radio app. WTJK, Andrew Liebetrau with you. I am your host, and we'll do this about 10, 11 more times before the end of the season. Our second edition, the head coach Joe Dibble with us here today. We will talk to defenseman Ian Janko in a little bit as well. Coach, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely happy to do it as always, and we'll talk about everything going on this weekend in a little bit, and throughout our first portion of the show here. We'll be with you folks for the next half hour, but you guys got the sweep against Springfield, and I know a team you always enjoy beating.
You know what, we did. It was one of those weekends, the full week of practice leading up to it, is there's a lot of players that are just anxious to get it going, especially against a team like Springfield. So we knew them coming out of the showcase that not having the best start, that they were going to come in ready to go this weekend, last weekend, and we wanted to make sure we countered that right off the get-go.
4-3 and 3-2, so a couple of one-goal games, and that's kind of been a trend here early on for you guys, is these tight games. I know the goals for, goals against are pretty comparable at this point. Do you take anything out of that?
Yeah, you know what? It's some of these games, especially that Friday night game. It was a one-goal game, 4-3. But shots were 41-20. It's just their goaltender. Springfield they're known for good goaltenders. So I believe he shut down a couple breakaways, and we definitely had some special team opportunities to score goals. So you have to give the credit to their goaltender for keeping them in that game. But for us, right now we're scoring goals. We just have to be able to let those bad bounces, those we call them boneheaded plays, we need to clean up.
Okay. Special teams wise, I know that was a point you talked about last time we spoke in terms of making sure that was efficient on both ends of the ice. You said he cut down some power play chances. How were you overall? How happy were you with it?
You know what? On the weekend, both sides of special teams, power play and penalty kill were outstanding. I believe Friday night we were 3 for 5 on the power play, and then 2 for 4 on Saturday night. And I believe the penalty kill was 100% on the weekend. So special teams was definitely good for us last weekend.
And, Ian Janko we'll talk to in a little bit, one of your defensemen. I'm assuming a part of that on killing things off, or how does that rotation work with, I guess on the defensive end, you're just kind of whoever happens to be out there is who you're stuck with, or do you get the opportunity to make any change?
Yeah, you get the opportunities to make change. So you get that full week to practice with those particular guys you want to use.
Okay.
Like Janko, who will be coming in, he's one of our go-to guys in all situations, special teams, power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5, and he actually didn't even play last weekend, so he's been injured all year, and I think he's gotten in 3 games so far, but we've had to kind of deactivate him and shut him down the past couple of weeks to get him healthy. So for him, once we get him back in the lineup, I think you'll see our numbers go up even more.
Yeah, he's played 3 games is the number I saw. His 3rd season in the NAHL and 2nd season, first full season with the Jets, and we'll get into all that with him in a little bit. 8 games that you guys have under your belt, 10 points, 5-3-0. You guys are technically tied for second, but when you look at points and the number of games, you guys have the best percentage there so far in the division.
Yeah, our win percentage in our division is number 1, even though it says we're in tied for second. But having those 2 games in hands against Keystone is huge for us, especially at this point in the season where not that we've got that leg room, because every night it's a tough night to win hockey games in this league. But knowing that you have those extra 2 games in hand, it gives you a little bit of cushion.
And having the 10 points in 8 games, it's always nice to see that point number higher than the number of games that you're putting out there.
Yeah, especially since the past couple of years our starts have been slow, building the teams younger, and now this year we're still young, but you're seeing right from the get-go, we've got enough guys in here that have played junior hockey for a couple of years, like Janko that's coming in, where we've been able to lean on some of these older veteran-style players to carry us through some of these games at the beginning.
Joe Dibble, head coach of the Janesville Jets. The Jets out to a 5-3-0 start here, sweeping the weekend against Springfield last weekend down at the ice, or a couple weekends ago back at the Janesville Ice Arena, and games coming up this weekend. Pink in the Rink weekend is sponsored by the Mercy Health System. That's going on here on, the entire weekend. Pink jerseys both Friday and Saturday. A cappella night on Friday. We've got 3 different groups coming in from UW-Madison that are going to perform at the intermissions. It's a flat screen Friday. You got to dig that.
Yeah.
Opportunity to come out and win a flat screen. And then on Saturday night, the live jersey auction with the post-game proceeds going to Mercy Health System. So all that going on this weekend. When you look back to the Springfield weekend, what were you most happy with? What were you most disappointed with?
You know what? I would say I was happy with the fact of our special teams. From where we were at our power play and our penalty kill, percentage-wise weren't very good going into the week. So being able to turn those around and doing what we did on that side of things was outstanding for us as a staff to see. I mean, one of the things we were disappointed was Saturday. I think we came out with the mentality that it was going to be kind of an easy game. And, the score was a little bit different from Friday than the way the game actually went. So I think the guys kind of were a little complacent when we came out on Saturday, and they took a two-goal lead on us all the way into the third period, and I believe it was 11, 12 minutes left in the game where we scored our first goal, and we won the game with 2.5 seconds left. So, for us, we've got to play a full 60 no matter who we're playing. Instead of, I would say, Saturday we played 12 minutes of good hockey, and it was enough to win.
Those third period rallies, especially needing to put at least 2 on the board, that's not going to happen too often.
No, and I mean the fans love it. I mean, but
sure.
at the same time, as a staff and as a team, it's those are things that we need to clean up. So
not the way you want to make a living getting to the postseason.
No, I don't know how long I'll make it at that point.
Fair enough. The line so far, are you happy with the way you've got the line set up? Are you having to tweak those still early in the year?
Yeah, you know what, we've made a couple minor tweaks, due to injuries and things like that. But with where we're at and how we're producing for points wise, I would say we're pretty happy with our line combos. From top to bottom, we don't look at things as a first line, second line, third line, fourth line. We feel that we've got enough firepower where we can put any line on the ice, and we're confident that they can either produce or shut down the other team's lines from scoring goals.
I know that Janko has been banged up, hasn't played since I think it was September 20th, the last time that he saw action here. What about the rest of the team? How healthy are we at this point? Yeah,
I would say we're pretty close to being back to 100%. I'd say Janko's at about a 70% right now. We've got another goaltender that I would say is a 50-60%, so we're getting a lot closer. Us having last weekend off was very important. We practiced 3 days last week, and the guys were able to shut down for 4 or 5 days, which was key for us.
I know we talked a little bit about the schedule and some things that we're not necessarily thrilled about this year, but having a little bit of an off time early in the year, was that something that you were happy to get now that you see guys, okay, we can get some guys healthy, or does that maybe hurt momentum a little bit?
You know what? It was kind of a blessing in disguise. I mean, at the time we were thinking, you know what, this is a little bit too early to have a weekend off already. But when you throw those 2 exhibition weekends on top of before regular season even starts, it was a lot of hockey. I think it was like 12 games there in a short few weeks. So the break was much needed, so it came at a pretty good time.
And I think you mentioned as well the family didn't mind the break on your end of things.
Nope, they definitely enjoy that.
But now they said get back to the rink. We're tired of you being around. What can you tell us about Cooley Region, the Chill in town for a couple this weekend?
Yeah, you know what? They're going to be a hockey club that's going to come in and they're going to skate. They're going to throw everything at us. I know it's a rival between us and Cooley. We play. It's called the Milk Can weekends. It goes by, wins. If it's a split series, it goes by goals for. So the winning team of the weekend takes the milk jug back and forth from, Lacrosse or Janesville.
That's
gets
cool.
it. Yeah, and, Janesville hasn't lost it yet on the year, so we don't plan on this being the first. But we know that they're going to come out there. They're going to be skate. They can skate. They're going to have some skill up front. So their forwards are going to be able to make plays and create offense on our turnovers. So we have to make sure that we're responsible in our own end and we're playing 200 feet.
How important is the neutral ice then if they're trying to convert those turnovers and you guys are playing more of an aggressive attacking style?
You know what? It's very important for us. We want everything going north. So when we turn pucks over, we want to catch teams, being on the wrong side of the puck and wrong side of the play. So and that's very similar to the way Cooley does. So I would say in the neutral zone, both clubs this week are paying a lot of attention to neutral zone regroups and forechecks and whatnot.
This seems like a tailor-made weekend if you haven't seen Jets hockey yet, to go see some exciting, fast-paced kind of hockey.
You know what? There will be. I mean, I would say between the two teams, it's obviously a rival, and then there's some bad blood there from both clubs from last year. I'd say the past couple seasons, the first weekend, has gotten pretty rowdy over the past couple years. As soon as the puck drops, I don't know what it is between the two teams. I would think there'd be more of a rivalry between us and Springfield with the past, but I would say Cooley's kind of that team for us, where it's the only other team, in Wisconsin that we look at as far as, whenever we're going to play, we're going to be the number one team in this state.
I guess a little bit closer than Springfield. I don't know if that plays in at all, and maybe the fact that you've taken care of Springfield over the last 10 meetings or so. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I'm speculating. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so Cooley region. How about goaltending there? I know you mentioned a strong goaltending out of Springfield. What do we know about the Chill?
You know what? They have Carlson coming back. So they have a veteran goaltender in the net back there, so he's going to be good. He's one of those guys that he's played at every level, so he knows what it takes to win at every night, whether it's high school, junior hockey, North American League, Minnesota League. It doesn't matter. So he came into our league last year and opened a lot of eyes, not only from teams and coaches in our league, but from colleges and National Hockey League teams as well. So for him, we've just got to throw pucks, crash net, look for rebounds and whatnot, and get one in early.
All right, this is Joe Dibble, head coach of the Janesville Jets, with us here, and Ian Janko coming up in just a few minutes. We'll talk to the defenseman, the Minnesota native, here in his third season in the NAHL. I want to ask you about Ian, though. He's a player that you guys acquired last year at the deadline. What was it that caught your eye to bring him to Janesville?
Ian's one of those kids where he's out of Minnesota, which is where I'm from. So I got to watch him a lot during his high school years. So we knew he was one of those guys that, can create offense, jump into the play, good size, big, strong kid that everything he does is hard. He's one of those kids when he shoots the puck, he's trying to shoot it through the goalie. When he's going to hit a guy, he's trying to put him out in the parking lot. So that mentality and intensity that he brings every day in practice and in games is something that our younger guys can look up to. And even veteran players realize, this is a player that he sets himself a little bit farther than anybody else. He teaches by example to his teammates. So it was one of those opportunities that we had where we could pick up a kid that can create offense, but also plays with jam, and he can shut down on the defensive side of things. And they're hard to come by, so we definitely knew he was our number one target, and we weren't quitting until we got him.
It seems as though just the theme here with the two defensemen that we'll be talking to, the first additions, these are defensemen who can play offense and are willing to jump up there and get into the mix.
Exactly, and that's kind of what we want to be known. We're an offensive team this year, from our forwards to our back end, so we want to be able to utilize these guys and let them show what their tools are, and the only way to do that is to give them the rope, and this year they've had a lot of success so far.
Really quick on that, then, what sort of added pressure does that maybe put on your netminder, knowing that you do have defensemen that are maybe going to get caught from time to time?
Yeah, you know what? Our model this year is having trust in one another. So if our defenseman's going to jump into the play, our high forward knows, or our guy that's coming off the bench for a change, they know that we've got to. All right, if Janko's in the play, I've got to protect and cover for him on the blue line. So our goaltenders, our defensemen, our forwards know that as long as they're communicating with each other and they know someone's going to back them up, that we're not too worried about it.
I got to assume that, Coach Joe Dibs, I got to assume Janko, Janks?
Yeah, you know what? He's got quite a few of them, but yeah,
okay.
I would say Janks is probably the main one.
Okay, all right. I was just a shot in the dark, just assuming here. Coach, we certainly appreciate it, and we'll look forward to our next conversation here on the next edition. I'll get Ian in here, and we'll chat it up a little bit, find out about him, and get a player perspective on things so far.
There you go. All right. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. It's Joe Dibble, head coach of the Janesville Jets. Don't forget, this weekend we've got what we've got going on is the Pink in the Rink weekend, sponsored by the Mercy Health System. Friday, Saturday, pink jerseys each night, a cappella night on Friday, so a few groups from UW-Madison are going to be in to perform at intermission. Flat screen Friday, so you've got a chance to win a flat screen TV. And then the live jersey auction coming up on Saturday night following the game. Proceeds going to the Mercy Health System. And we will step aside. We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll talk to the defenseman number 2 on the sweater, Ian Janko, coming up next here on the Janesville Jets Coaches Show on the Big AM 1380, thebigam1380.com. Welcome back into the Janesville Jets Coaches Show right here on the Big AM 1380, thebigam1380.com. Don't forget this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Pink in the Rink weekend. It's all sponsored by the Mercy Health System. Pink jerseys on Friday and Saturday, a cappella night Friday. So you've got a few groups from UW-Madison that'll be performing at intermissions. Flat screen Friday, and Natalie Toby's hanging out in studio too here. Flat screen Friday, so people get to win a flat screen TV on Fridays for these flat screen Fridays, right? Okay. Just come to the game and you've got the chance, she tells us. That's excellent. Live jersey auction going on Saturday night as well, post-game, and the proceeds going to the Mercy Health System. We talked to the coach And now we talk to Ian Janko, defenseman number 2 on the sweater, a Minnesota native in studio with us. Now, how you doing there, sir?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being in studio here. Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of the show. You didn't have to do the first one, so the pressure's already off, right? Since you didn't have to do week 1. Were you guys able to listen and harass your teammate, your fellow defenseman at this point already?
Yeah, he took a little crap in the locker room, but nothing too bad.
Okay, I figured I could tell by his response on some of the late questions, like the iPod and that I felt like maybe it was a movie question that I think he was going to get harassed for a little bit. Tell us about yourself. I know you're from Minnesota. Your third year in the league here, the NAHL. But tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I grew up in Minnesota. I've been playing hockey since I was about 6 years old. I don't.
Well, I mean, you're from Minnesota, so you're supposed to play hockey, right? That's just kind of inherent, isn't it?
Yeah, you're kind of expected to.
Have you always been a defenseman, or did you play any forward at all, or anything else?
Yeah, I played a little forward when I was younger, but I could never keep up, so I had to go back to D.
Go back to defense, and coach tells us you're a little bit more of an aggressive style player. He said you play hard. You like to shoot it through the net. You like to hit guys so they end up out in the parking lot. I mean, that's kind of your playing style. Has it always been that way? Have you always played with that kind of style?
No, actually, I think it's something that just comes with age. Just kind of getting tired of getting pushed around and stuff, and just finally, taking some ground for yourself and getting out there and getting after it. Starting
pushing back a little bit here. Now, this unfortunately this year so far hasn't started off great for you. You got banged up a little bit and have only played a few games this year. This weekend potentially for you back on the ice?
Yeah, right now it's just kind of day to day, seeing how it feels. But if it was my choice, I'd be playing this weekend. But it's kind of up to the muscle itself. So we'll see.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the first few games that you did play. How were you feeling at that point coming into your first full season with the Jets? Kind of how was the off season for you? How do you think things started out before the injury?
Things were going really well. I had a good off season. Good training camp, or at least start to it. The games went really well after not playing any games for the whole season. Just coming right in, it went really well. I was a little bummed out that I couldn't be there for all the games with the boys, but I'm doing the best I can to get back into it, and I'm looking forward to it.
How is it different to be a part of things where you're not on the ice? Are you able to take a little different perspective, maybe step back? Because generally you're out there, you're seeing everything as it happens on the ice. Now you're able to kind of sit back and soak it in from a different angle. Has that helped you, do you think? Will that help you?
Yeah, I think it has. I mean, just watching the game up from the stands and kind of exactly what you said, seeing it from a different perspective, kind of get a different grasp on things, maybe seeing a mistake a guy made and thinking about how I could have done it differently. It definitely does help you out a little bit, but at the same time, you do get a little frustrated because you can't be out there with them.
Oh, absolutely. What would you say your role is with this team?
I consider myself just a good, solid defenseman. I like to be a little bit of a leader out there, and since I've been on the league for 3 years now, I try to show some of the younger guys kind of what's going on and how it's done.
Ian Janko with us here, defenseman number 2 on the sweater here for the Janesville Jets, and the Jets back in action this weekend at home against Cooley Region. When you've played for Fresno, for Rio Grande, and then you got traded to Janesville at the deadline. Talk a little bit about your first couple years in the league, and then kind of that trade happening. That's got to be kind of a unique situation to be in.
Yeah, well, 2 years ago I started out in Fresno, and I kind of had a rough time finding myself. I learned a lot about myself as a person and a hockey player that year. Next year, Rio Grande Valley started off pretty well, but I think it was for the best to get traded up here to Janesville, and since being in Janesville, I've just loved it. It's really been a dream come true. It's a good fit for me, so I've been really happy here.
How's playing for Coach Dibbs compared to some of the coaches in the past?
He's a great guy. He's one of my only coaches that I can just go into his office and have a normal conversation with him. I'm not afraid of him or anything like that. He's a really good guy, and he gets he gets a lot out of me, so I appreciate him.
He's you say not afraid. He can get fired up though, right?
Oh yeah,
I mean, Dibs
absolutely.
can get fired up. I've been around him enough times, and well, he should. He's a hockey coach, right?
Exactly.
You can't be passive and quiet if you're doing that. Talk about. I know on defense you don't necessarily always have a line mate, but talk a little bit about who you're out there with generally, and playing in front of the netminders you guys have.
Yeah, well, traditionally or in the past, I've been playing with Alex Smith. I know you had on the show last week, and it's tough playing with a D partner, a different D partner every week because you kind of get used to the same thing and where each other is going to be, and that can be a little confusing. And it's all solved by communication. So
and trust was a word that I know Coach Dibble talked about is trusting your teammates, trusting each other, and yourself and Alex both being more offensive defensemen. I imagine there's got to be a big trust factor with your teammates and with each other and with your goalie then.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. It's just, it's like I said, just talking it out, letting them know where you're at and where he's at, and making sure at least someone's got the defensive side of things.
All right, let's get to some lighter questions because we need to let people get to know you a little bit. We started doing this a couple years ago on the show, kind of guessing at hockey nicknames, and I think we've got kind of figured out what the few tend to be for players. And I understand you've got a few, but your default is probably Jenks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Are there clean ones, other ones that your teammates refer to you by?
I've been called Grandpa before.
Grandpa?
Yeah. Just with being kind of an older guy on the team, I've been called Grandpa, but mainly Jenks and Grandpa.
Okay, Jenks and Grandpa. I like that. That's good. Grandpa Jenks. Maybe they could just combine the two. When you're not playing hockey, what are you doing?
I like to spend a lot of time in the summer just hanging out with friends, going to lakes, on the beaches, fishing, whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay. Do you do any water sports or anything of that nature, or are you just kind of a chill guy on the lake? I'm
more of a chill guy on the lake, like to keep the pole in my hand, but the water sports are a little tough for me. I kind of get afraid out there.
Well, you know what? I'm sure Coach Dibble wouldn't appreciate you getting injured wakeboarding or something of that nature. So that's probably good on your part. Favorite movie? Give me a couple of your favorite all-time movies.
Well, I'd have to say my favorite comedy is Anchorman with Will Ferrell. He's my favorite actor by
Very
far.
Good.
Yeah,
Very
he's
good.
Awesome. And then more of an action adventure movie. I'd say The Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. I don't know if you've seen that.
Underrated. Very underrated.
Yes.
It's hard, though, because Denzel does so dang many movies. It's hard to remember all of them. But, yeah, that was a very good movie. What about a sports movie? Are you some sports movies I think are really good, some are terrible.
Yeah, no, I do. Obviously, I like the movie Miracle. I mean, it's a good hockey movie. It's been a little over watched and used, I think, but
sure.
It's still a good movie. I like Moneyball. Moneyball's a good movie.
Okay, all right, very good. Top songs on your iPod. Or artists? What is heard most frequently on the iPod?
I like a lot of Blake Shelton, Jason Aldean. I like country a lot.
Okay,
and then more the hip hop rap stuff. I just like to kind of keep to myself.
Okay, fair enough. I think Alex had a similar answer, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe we're noticing a trend here. How about you guys probably eat fairly healthy. You guys probably keep a pretty good check on what you're putting into the body there. Post game meal. I imagine that when you get done, you're absolutely starving. What's your go-to?
My post game meal would be just like a protein, so like maybe a fish, chicken, something like that, with a vegetable. Just make sure you get protein and vegetables. That's what I get. All
right, that's a good answer, and I believe you. I don't think you're lying to me. But give me a junk food. Give me a garbage food that you have to go to.
It's always there for you when you need it. Pizza.
Okay, that's good. That's staple. There's pizza is a good default. There's no question. So are you a thin crust guy? Or are you like a Chicago style guy?
Yeah, well, if I had my choice, I'd go deep dish.
Okay, all right, excellent. See, you and I could be friends. I like this. This is good. Ian Janko, Jenks, Grandpa Jenks with us here, number 2 on the sweater defenseman for the Janesville Jets. Real quick here, last one, Cooley region in town for this weekend. What do you expect to see out there? Hopefully you're able to be on the ice, but if you're not, what do you kind of expect in this matchup? I expect both teams are going to come out and compete. Us and Cooley is always a good matchup. I know they got a pretty good squad this year, so I just expect a really good game, and I think all the fans will enjoy it. All right, Ian, thank you so much for being in here. We really appreciate it. And good luck getting healthy. Good luck the rest of the way. And I'm sure we'll check in down the line.
Thank you.
All right, it's Ian Janko, defenseman. Grandpa Jenks joining us here on the show. It's the Janesville Jets Coaches Show. And don't forget, folks, we've got Pink in the Rink weekend, all weekend long. And it's all brought to you and sponsored by the Mercy Health System. Pink jerseys both Friday and Saturday. We've got a cappella night going on Friday night as well. A few groups from UW-Madison will be there, 3 exact, because there's 3 intermissions, so they'll do it at each one. A flat screen Friday, so come out to the game, your chance to win a flat screen. And then on Saturday, post-game, you'll have a live jersey auction going on, proceeds back to the Mercy Health System. So that's going to do it this week for us, and we'll be back with another edition of the Janesville Jets Coaches Show in just a couple weeks here as we continue the season along, and we'll do this every time on the Big AM 1380, thebigam1380.com. I want to thank our guests here again this week, head coach Joe Dibble, defenseman Ian Janko, and, of course, Natalie Toby as well, setting all this up for us and hanging out in the studio, creeping with pictures and all that. We certainly appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon, folks. The Big AM 1380, thebigam1380.com. And don't forget, again, this weekend, Janesville Jets hockey down at the Janesville Ice Arena, janesvillejets.com. Get your tickets there.